Police officers are leading a man down a bright corridor. As he walks, a voiceover recites the thoughts of great people from different times and nations. It later turns out that he is being released from prison so you can become the former. Greater than several years later, he is riding in a car to a casino. Jake Green, that's the name of our protagonist, is accompanied by his brother Billy and two bodyguards. They stop at the casino and the manager is quickly informed of their arrival. He meets them and asks them to come upstairs. As they approach the elevator, Jake stops anxiously. Greater than like to feel trapped, never did, never will. Why should a man do what he doesn't like to do? Greater than Jake prefers the stairs. He doesn't want to step into a confined space, but his friends persuade him. After all, it's a long walk up to the 20th floor. He finally steps into the elevator, sweating from fear. When they reach the floor, the manager says there are only 2 seats available at the gaming table. At the head of the table sits local crime boss Dorothy Mache, who runs the city's illegal gambling business. He greets Green and says he's heard about his improving fortunes, which makes no sense since Jake has only recently been released from prison. Then he asks what benefit Green could possibly bring him. He knows that by inviting Jake to the table, he might regret it. The man is full of ambition. Macha humiliates Jake by telling him he's just a hired hand and will be working for him. Jake suggests they play. Greater than I'll toss you for a 10. Greater than Jake chooses a red chip. The crime boss sitting across from him begins to get nervous. Jake proposes. Greater than I'll exercise a bit of charity. Double or quits. Greater than he then tosses the chip and loses. Green's team takes an enormous win. At that moment, the manager approaches and asks Green to return to the table, but Jake refuses. They head for the exit. This time, Green is determined to take the stairs. Just as they are about to leave, a man talking on the phone intercepts him. He hands Jake a business card and manages to promise he'll get him out of trouble. Green's team heads for the staircase and suddenly Jake collapses unexpectedly. He tumbles down several steps and everyone with him is horrified. Billy checks his pulse. Jake is alive. In front of him lies a card that reads, "In the casino hall, the same crime boss is displeased with the guest's audacity and orders to call in the cleaner to get rid of Green. Get rid of him." At the hospital, the doctor tells Jake that he doesn't know the cause of the fainting and suggests running tests. After that, they drive him to his home. As the men approach the door, Green suddenly sees a card identical to the one he received from the stranger at the casino. It reads, "Pick it up." Green bends down and at that moment, gunfire erupts. Jake's companions are killed, but the bullets miss him. Then a car pulls up and his rescuer steps out. Providing covering fire, he orders Jake to jump into the car. He doesn't believe it. Such a thing has never happened before. Only thanks to the rescuer has Green stayed alive. Mr. Zach takes Green to a chess club where he is introduced to his partner, Avi, who hands over Jake's test results, which show that he is gravely ill and will die within 3 days. Avi and Zach say they can save him, but they won't do it for free. Jake grows wary. He thinks they're trying to scam him, and the 2 men lay out their conditions. First, he will have to hand over absolutely everything he owns. Second, he must follow their instructions to the letter, without arguing or objecting. He can verify the test results, but he has only 3 hours. After that, they will be powerless. Jake thinks it's all a setup and walks away. While at the hospital, the doctor confirms the diagnosis, but Green believes she is also in on the scheme. He remembers another doctor, but that one too confirms the grim diagnosis. Greater than how much they pay you. Greater than what? Who? Greater than what are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. Greater than the doctor doesn't understand why Jake won't accept his conclusion and stands by his own assessment. Jake realizes this doctor has nothing to do with it. He then retrieves his money from a safety deposit box. At that moment, the cleaner explains why he missed. He can't say what happened to him or why he failed. Some strange feelings overcame him. The boss tells him he's paying for skill and orders him again to get rid of Green. We see Jake bringing the money to a billiard club. He reflects on how any laws can be broken and any rules can be bypassed, and he intends to do exactly that because desperate people commit desperate acts. Zach greets him cheerfully. He loves cash. That gives him his first assignment. Jake is to become a driver. In the car, Avi explains they are shark loan sharks. People fear and hate them. It will be hard for Jake to lose money because this loan will be given out from his own funds. Avi orders him not to say a word and to leave the bag on the table. The man they visit says he has nothing left. While Avi carries on the conversation, Jake keeps thinking that he is still being scammed. According to them, his death sentence has already been signed. He realizes there is no turning back. After a nod, Jake sets the bag of cash on the table. On the way, Zach asks about his relationship with Matcha. Green recalls that back in the day, Matcha employed 3 clowns known as the 3 Eddies. Loud, arrogant, stupid guys. They oversaw illegal games held throughout the city. Matcha lost one of his men on the eve of a big game. The Eddies learned about Green and thought he would do, but Jake refused. Then they started putting pressure on his brother's family. To get them to back off, Green was forced to sit down at the gaming table. Greater than but tell me, 'tis your I'm a donkey. Greater than very funny, George. This one will make you laugh. Greater than gunfire broke out and the money vanished. 2 weeks later, someone tipped off the police about Green and he was arrested. The 3 Eddies figured Jake might crack, so they came to his brother's family. His mother, rushing to protect her newborn granddaughter, was struck by a stray bullet. His brother lost his wife, and his daughter was left without a mother. Green lost his sense of humor and 7 years of his life, because he never revealed that it was Matcha who had organized the game. Soon after, the 3 men angered Matcha himself. He chopped them up and used them to reinforce the foundation of his house. Now Matcha would have to pay for everything because nothing hurts more than the loss of money and self-respect. Greater than nothing hurts more than humiliation and a little money loss. Debtors arrive at Zach and A's office asking for more time to gather the money. By evening, Jake is taken to a cheap motel on the edge of the city. Matcha arrives for a meeting with the mysterious Mr. Gold, but instead his assistant Walker shows up. She enters the hall with her bodyguards and speaks about the seriousness of the task. Matcha assures her the powder will be ready by Friday. The woman says she doesn't want any noise or publicity because Mr. Gold never gives second chances. Zach asks Jake who he served time with and how long his sentence was. In prison, Jake had 2 options: 14 years in the general population or 7 years in solitary. Green chose solitary. For 20 hours a day, he was locked in the cell between 2 repeat offenders. One neighbor was a chess master, the other a master of comms. Despite never having seen each other, the 2 knew one another better than an old married couple. Once a day, books were delivered to the cells. In prison, Jake developed a taste for books on chess theory, gambling, and occasionally more serious literature, such as theoretical astrophysics and quantum mechanics. His neighbors respected these choices. From time to time, Jake would intercept some of the new combinations his neighbors were working on. Chess and cons, a dangerous combination. Over 10 years, they searched for ways to win any game. And one day, they found a universal formula that could break the bank. They promised Jake they would leave together. Yet the next morning, they simply vanished. Guards turned the prison upside down, but found no evidence of an escape, nor even proof these men had existed. It was as if they had evaporated. 2 years later, Jake was released, but the pair knew everything about him. The bastards had robbed him blind. Greater than only gets smarter by playing a smarter opponent. But he was left with the universal formula for winning any game. And it works. Jake doesn't understand why the loan sharks are dragging things out with him. He brings them the money and parts even though they could have taken it all at once. For the first time, he has become the target of such games, as if stuck between a hammer and an anvil. Avi demands he be tougher while he and his partner put chains on a safe belonging to Matcha and haul it out of the wall. Matcha is furious. How could this happen? French Paul had said it couldn't be cracked, but it turned out you could simply remove it. And just yesterday, Sam Gold's powder had been placed inside it. Matcha is enraged. He demands they gather people, smash, and destroy. Do whatever it takes to fix the situation, because the word sorry does not exist in Mr. Gold's vocabulary. Paul says the only person who can get the powder is Lord John, Matcha's rival, and they have no choice but to go to him. But John names a price twice as high, and they agree. He believes fate itself has brought him to gold and that he will not get a second chance. Lord John orders preparations for the deal and tells them to arm themselves for any situation. The Loan Sharks team transports a cylinder. Jake again wants to take the stairs, but he is told they all have to ride the elevator together, and without thinking he agrees. The team enters a room next to the one where the deal is set to take place. They put on protective masks and then release sleeping gas into the neighboring room. All the participants in the exchange fall asleep. Green's team enters and takes the money and the powder. Avi even manages to steal a watch. Both drug dealers are furious. Greater than Avi and Green are playing chess. Jake keeps winning. Avi asks him to explain how he does it. Jake says it's very simple. Abai does the main work and Jake just helps. He feeds him small pieces, making him believe he's finding them himself. In every game, there's the one who plays the game and the one who runs the con. The victim thinks they're leading the game, and that tightens the noose around their own neck. And that's the essence of the formula. It's incredibly simple yet logical and effective. The first rule of the con: play against a smarter opponent. The more sophisticated the game, the more sophisticated the opponent. If the opponent is good, they will drive the victim into a situation they can control. Throw the dog a bone. Find your victim's weak spot. Give them what they want. This way, the opponent distracts their victim while they writhe in the grip of their own greed. The older and more widespread the con, the easier it is to pull off. People think no one would fall for something so well known. And finally, when the victim starts doubting whether their opponent is truly their equal, they're actually doubting their own intelligence. But no one will admit that, not even to themselves. Green wins again. Abby says he won't play with him anymore. Greater than I ain't playing you again. Jake gets a call from his brother warning him to get away from the loan sharks because the man taking over the matter is someone shrouded in mystery. Mr. Gold. Anyone who displeases Gold is doomed. But something is off with the loan sharks if Gold isn't touching them. Jake sees the loan sharks collecting debts. And if the debtors have no money, they dispose of them. That gives him a gun, but Green refuses to shoot. Avi tells him he can't see beyond his own nose, that he's already a dead man, but still doesn't believe them. Jake lets it go and tries to shoot Avi, but there are no bullets in his gun. He's struck over the head. He wakes up to a phone call inviting him for another checkup where he's told the earlier test results were wrong. He realizes he's lost all his money. Jake calls Avi and demands to know why he's still alive, why they gave away his money, and why they've been hiding everything from him and from themselves. Avi says he'll soon find out. At that moment, Matcha orders that Green be finished off. Jake comes to the loan sharks. They're sitting in a bird bath filled with ice water because Matcha's men are upstairs. One of them spots Jake. A shootout begins, but Green escapes. That evening, he comes to the club and asks Avi what's going on. Avi claims that Jake lied about the three Eddies, that things actually happened differently. They ambushed Jake and were going to kill him, but he made them an offer. Take any sum they wanted at 3% interest per month to pull off a profitable deal. They agreed and got their share. Then Jake raised the interest to 4% and for 2 years he brought them money. But in reality, he was taking money from one Eddie and bringing it to the second, covering the interest out of his own pocket. He wasn't greedy. He did everything calmly and smoothly. But the Eddies weren't making that kind of money and soon began borrowing from Matcha. Matcha lent them cash and collected interest. While Jake started gambling again and earned a fortune after a year, he had so much of Matcha's money that he could buy every hotel. He took his brother and his family on vacation. Matcha, however, decided to figure out how to get back the money the Eddies owed him. The men suffered greatly and died. An underling tells Matcha that Green has gotten away again and one of his men is dead. Matcha is shocked. There were 6 of them and he was alone, and he disarmed and knocked out a 4-time bodybuilding champion, dragged him half a block, threw him over a wall, and then made him eat a bullet. At that moment, gunfire erupts. The cleaner shoots a waitress and heads to the kitchen. Matcha sees the mortally wounded waitress pull out a gun. While he's being held under the table as they try to protect him, the girl fires, but the cleaner manages to grab a gun from a guard's sock and shoot first. The cleaner chases down a car. Behind the wheel is one of Lord John's men. Matcha thanks the cleaner and asks him to track down Lord J's people and find out where his powder is being kept. The cleaner drills a hole in a storage room. Jake turns to the loan sharks. They remind him of the rules of the game. He's been hearing a voice inside for a long time. And who exactly is Mr. Gold? He hides inside everyone's head in the one place no one will ever look. Everyone participates in his game, but no one realizes it. The whole world around them is his. He decides what to do and when. He hides behind human pain and behind every crime ever committed. The cleaner pushes his gun through the prepared hole and shoots Lord John. The loan sharks have forced Jake to start a game with the only real enemy he has. Though Jake thinks of him as his best friend and protector, but with what is he protecting him and where is the place he hides? Right where Jake won't think to look. Green must understand the source of his pain and he will win this game. The more power he gains in Gold's world, the less he has in the real one. The voice in Jake's head reminds him again, the longer you listen, the sweeter the words, and urges him not to listen to the loan sharks. Matcha sleeps. Green comes into his room. The inner voice advises him to kill Matcha and laughs at him. Inside his head, a battle rages. One voice says to kill Matcha. The other demands an apology. He swings between threatening and asking for forgiveness. Jake wrestles with himself and ultimately leaves. Matcha is stunned. He has no idea what's going on. Jake leaves the room and rides the elevator. There, he comes face to face with his ego, Mr. Gold, who is furious that he's losing control over the body. The ego tells Jake he'll die in his cage. And Jake finally admits he hears him. The voice cajoles and threatens. Jake must trust no one but him. And he won't let Jake get rid of him because he is Jake. But Jake no longer obeys him. He will control himself. The elevator doors open and standing there is Matcha with a gun. Enraged and terrified because Green feels no fear. For perhaps the first time, Matcha cannot control the situation. Fear me? Greater than, but it doesn't help. Mr. Green walks away. Greater than in a torture room, one of Lord John's men is being interrogated for information. Masha is in his house. French Paul shows him newspapers with his photo and headlines saying the casino boss has donated millions to charity. Matcha says Green cried like a child at his feet and he forgave him. But Paul says Lord John's men never revealed what happened to the powder and he's sure it was Green playing with them and the drums are already beating. Gold knows everything. Matcha orders them to find Green and get the powder back. At Jake's brother's house, Matcha's men arrive. Rachel hides in a cupboard. The brother says he doesn't know where Jake is. For that answer, they break his fingers, but it does no good. The cleaner watches it all with a strange expression. Later, Walker comes to Matcha's house. She wants to know why he's handing out money left and right, but hasn't repaid his debt to Mr. Gold. She gives him a funeral wreath as both a threat and a warning. Paul tortures Billy and then finds the little girl. Suddenly, the cleaner shoots him and then the guards. He reassures the girl it's just a game and asks her to hide back in the cupboard. The guards demand he hand her over, but the cleaner kills everyone except the driver, who then kills the cleaner. Green and Evie arrive at Matcha's place. He has the bag of powder in his hands. Abai suggests a game of chess. They play and in Jake's mind, the pieces begin to fall into place. He starts to realize that Zach and Evie, his imaginary cellmates, are actually parts of Jake's own mind. That's why they knew everything about him and why no one else could see them. Jake rides the elevator again. Matcha sits by the pool with a gun. Jake's niece beside him. Matcha asks if Jake thinks he's evil. He can't understand why Jake isn't afraid of him. After all, Matcha himself trembles before Gold. Finally, he decides it's better to die by his own hand than someone else's. Greater than that he is you.